guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I decided to get rolling with my Valentine's looks. I do plan to do at least 2 more. If not 2, then definitely 1 more. But for today's video, I went with a little bit more of a dramatic Valentine look. I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, but for my drama mamas out there, such as myself, I did a very smoky eye with a lot of glitter. So if you don't like glitter, you can feel free to substitute that part of the look for something else. But this is what I came up with. It's very dramatic at the eyes, and everything else I try to keep more soft. But that's enough of me talking. If you want to learn how to do this, then just keep on watching. Alright, so before we begin, I'm going to put my hair back, and I'm just going to use this super cute little cat ear headband. Just gonna do that. I'm gonna prime with my Urban Decay Primer Potion, What the Hell is New, and Eden. So just gonna do a little bit of that. Before we even move on any further, I'm just gonna go ahead and take my shadow shields and put that on, because I do already have my concealer and powder and everything already on. So if I get any fallout, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm just gonna pop that right under my eyes. For Makeup Geek, I'm gonna take the color Chickadee, and it looks like this. I want my next color to pop a little bit more, so I'm gonna place this down. And I'm just gonna take a clean blending brush and buff that out. This has nothing on it. Alright, now that we are all nice and blended, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the actual shadows. Alright, so moving on, I'm gonna take the Huda palette and I'm gonna go ahead and grab the color Maneater, and it is this almost like pinkish brick color right here. And I'm gonna take that on a blending brush and put that into my crease. I'm kind of blending the majority of the color out in the outer corner right here, and just lightly dragging whatever's left on the brush in to the inner corner. Not coming all the way down, you're gonna come like 2/3 in. Now when I put my shadows on, I kind of like to have like a rough draft. So I'll place them down, blend them out a little bit, go back in with more color and blend it out. And then once I get the intensity that I want, I'll go ahead and blend all of it out the way that I want. But I like just to sketch out, like, you know, and have a rough draft of where I'm putting everything. I'm kind of dragging out this shadow a little bit right here at the outer edge. I'm gonna actually bring this onto the lid on that outer corner. Just on the outer corner though, don't bring it any further than that, because we're gonna put another color there. And if you're using shadow shields, you can kind of angle these along your lash line here and kind of get that sharp edge in the corner. That's kind of what I did more so with this one than with this one. This one's a little off a little bit, but it's okay. You can clean it up later. It's okay to go ahead and go back and forth with the same color, keep building it up, because it's better to build, because it's easier to add more than to take away. So you'd want to start off slow and just gradually build up the intensity. So moving on, I'm just going to pick up that same brush that we used that Chickadee color with earlier, and I'm just going to quickly kind of buff that over the edges of the color we just placed down. I'm not picking up any more product though. I'm going to take a Morphe M433 brush, and I'm going to take the color Bossy in the Huda palette. It is this kind of burgundy-ish brick color right here. I'm just gonna put that right over that other color, but I'm bringing it a little bit lower. I'm not gonna blow it out as far as I did the Maneater color. So when I know I'm gonna put another color like in this part of my eye, the inner part of the lid, I'd like to kind of put my brush, instead of having it angled like this in the crease, I kind of bring it down so that it's laying flat, and I just kind of do those windshield wipers back and forth. And I find that this kind of helps it to blend the shadow a little better. So I like doing that a lot. I'm gonna go back with the other brush that we use the other Maneater color on, not picking up any more product. I'm just gonna gently buff that out where the two colors meet. Alright, so moving on, I'm actually gonna go ahead and use my Tarte Shape Tape just to carve out the inner part of my lid a little bit. Just gonna pop a little dollop of this on the back of my hand and just kind of carve out the inner portion of my lid before I put down the piece de resistance. I'm kind of just following the natural shape of my eye, like my lid. I'm not bringing this color up into the crease or anything like that. I want it to be just like I cut out literally my lid. So make sure you don't get it in your crease. I'm gonna go ahead with my finger and kind of tap where the shadow and that concealer meet just to blend it a little bit. All right, so the part of the tutorial that I'm most excited for has finally come. I just recently picked up the Stila, what are these even called? The Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow. Jesus, that's a long name, but I have the color Smoky Storm, and literally this is the sparkliest cream shadow I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I had to pick up one of these things. Went to 2 Sephora's to get this. No, I'm lying. I went to 4, if you count the ones in JCPenney. But JCPenney came through for your girl because they had these in stock when everybody else didn't. So 4th time's a charm, I guess. So I'm gonna put this on top of that Shape Tape that we put. Just be careful with the little doe foot applicator that you don't bring that into the crease. You just want to put it right on top of where you carved out. I'm literally just so excited looking at this right now. It's so sparkly. So like right where the two colors meet, the original shadow and the Stila, I kind of just lifted up my brush ever so slightly just so it was kind of like barely touching my lid and kind of tapered off to kind of blend the two together. And I'm just gonna take my finger and do the same thing that I did when I put the concealer on and just kind of tap right where the two meet just to blend them a little more. And like I said, you know, try your best when putting this on. If you're gonna try this look, try your best just not to get it into the crease. I have slightly hooded eyes, so I mean it's gonna get into my crease regardless of what I do, because that's just the nature of the beast. When you have hooded eyes, unfortunately, it's just gonna touch regardless. So I have already like some sparkles getting up into my upper part of my crease, but we'll worry about that in a minute. I'm just gonna try and blend this out just so it's not a harsh line where the glitter meets the matte shadow. All right, so I'm gonna go back and use that Bossy shadow, which was the darker burgundy. And I'm just gonna quickly run that and intensify that outer corner a little more. And this is just further blending, you know, the glitter with the shadow. And I'm gonna kind of actually bring whatever's left on my brush through the crease where I'm getting those sparkles that are kind of trailing up my eye here where they don't belong. I'm just gonna try and cover those up a little bit. So now that I put that color into my crease a little bit, I'm just gonna take another clean blending brush and I'm just gonna quickly run over that because your girl don't want no harsh lines, you feel me? All right, so with that, I think I'm satisfied with the eye, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take my shadow shields off very gently because I don't want to rip off my concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the lower lash line. I'm gonna take a Morphe 507 brush. I love this brush so much. I don't know how I survived without it. I'm gonna go ahead and take the color Chickadee and just quickly run that under my eye. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the main color Bossy and put that right over the Chickadee. And like I said before, you're just gonna gradually build it up. Make sure when you're doing this, you wanna connect the top shadow onto your lower lash line so that there's no gaps in between. All right, now that I have the color built up on my lower lash line, I'm just gonna take a clean blending brush and just run it all the way around the edges. At this point, you could actually go ahead and take that glitter from Stila and put that right into, you could even bring it all the way around and into this part of your lower lash line. I'm not gonna do that because I'm not super crazy about having glitter in my lower lash line. So I'm gonna skip that part, but if that's your jam, like, you can go ahead and do what makes you happy. I'm just not gonna do that. I'm gonna take my Anastasia Moonchild Glow Kit, and I'm gonna use the color Pink Heart in my inner corner with a very small detailing brush. So I'm just gonna pop that right into the inner corner, and that just kind of gives the eye look a little extra something, but it's not taking away from what you have going on up here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my eyes. I'm gonna tight line and I'm gonna add some mascara and falsies, and I will be right back. So now that my lower lash line, my lashes, everything, my brows are on, I'm just gonna go back in with that Moonchild Glow Kit Pink Heart, and I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that on the brow bone. And going back with the clean blending brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and run through where the latest shade in the crease color up here and the brow bone meet. I always do that just because I want everything to be seamless. I don't want there to ever be any harsh lines on anything, so I always kind of blend these two colors together right here. I'm gonna use the NYX Ignite, or is this Passion? I don't know. It's a baked blush by NYX. I think it's Ignite, but then it says /Passion, so I don't really know. But I'm gonna use this. And this has a little bit of a sheen to it since it is a baked blush. I don't know if I said earlier, but my contour is already done because I did do the review on the Real Techniques diamond sponge. So if you want to see that, I'll link it down below. But that's why my face and contour was already done at the beginning of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and blend anything out that might be harsh. I kept it a little light on the blush because I don't want it to overpower what we have going on in our eyes. I want the eyes to be the focus of the look. So the blush and the lips are gonna be a little softer. I even tried to do bushy brows so they don't look like Sharpie brows, because I know I do that sometimes with the dip brow. I get a little carried away, but I try to go a little softer. I don't know if you can tell a difference on camera. I can definitely tell a difference in person, but I don't know if it's translating well on the camera, but whatevs. So for highlight, I'm gonna use the Artist Couture Diamond Glow powder in the color Yas. This color actually has, it's a champagne color, but you can tell that there's a little bit of pink mixed in. So it's perfect to go with what we put in our inner corner and on our brow bone. Kind of ties up the look. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of that on the tops of my cheekbones. You gotta be careful with this stuff because if you don't tap off your brush, the excess, the glitter will literally like fall all over your face and look wild. Alright, so for lips, I'm gonna go ahead and take just any old brown liner. I'm just gonna quickly line my lips. I'm gonna use one of the Kylie lip colors. This is Exposed, and it's one of the minis. This came out for her birthday collection, I believe. So on top of Exposed, I'm actually gonna add a little bit of Candy K, just because I want it to be a little bit more rosy than it is right now. I'm just gonna put a little bit on top. And I'm gonna wait for that to dry down, and then I'm gonna top it off with a little bit of gloss. Oh, and the gloss that I'm using is, what is this? Pure Peach from the Too Faced Sweet Peach collection. I got this as a sample from Sephora in the little like perks section when you check out. Once you have your lips on, you're completely done. So I'm just gonna let my hair down out of this headband. And I'm just gonna spray myself a little bit of setting spray. And this is the finished look. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did like it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video.